Let's talk about another company altogether. It has been quite a weak showing from Symphony this time around, with profits, I understand, slipping about 24%, and that's at 24 crore rupees. The stock too has been trading under pressure and is down at the moment about 8% in trade so far. So what have the key factors really been that have impacted the quarter this time around? To shed more light on these numbers, joining us on the discussion and the road ahead is, of course, on the phone line, the Executive Director, that's Nrupesh Shah. Mr. Shah, thank you very much for speaking to us right here on BTVi. Why don't you give us a reason that you feel is probably the strongest in terms of why there's been a fall in profits and revenues?
Sure. There are two aspects. One is there is a degrowth in the top line by about 15%, which is purely on account of unseasonal rain and erratic summer during this quarter. So not only Symphony, but most of the summer-related industry and cooling industry in particular is impacted by this. But having said that, even during this quarter, we have not only maintained our market share, but we have improved our leadership by registering market share in excess of 50% in a shrunk market. That's number one. Number two, in respect of the profitability, as it was shared while sharing March quarter and annual result, on account of new launch of Touch series, which was at introductory price and which received in terms of the sales booking overwhelming response, overall profitability margin has been impacted. But having said that, we are quite confident that starting September quarter, that is current quarter itself, we should register robust top line growth coupled with our healthy profitability and margin in line with what it was during 15-16 or September 16 quarter.
Mr. Shah, I was wondering what the impact of the implementation of GST has been on Symphony. How significant was that, and how long do you think that impact is going to last?
No, of course, at the fag end of the quarter, on account of GST, there was some cautious approach by the dealer distributor. Not only that, there was some destocking on account of that. So partly because of that, in the last quarter, it has been impacted. But in the current quarter so far, in fact, it has received very well, and ultimately on account of GST, we are very bullish on account of couple of reasons. Number one, for sure, there will be a shift from unorganized sector to organized sector. Secondly, because of GST, we are going to gain by couple of % on account of lower burden of taxation. Number three, it will lead to much efficient transportation and logistics with some reduction in costs related to that. And fourthly, much better and simplified taxation regime, subject to some initial hiccups in terms of the compliance initially.
Okay, Mr. Shah, just very quickly, you point out the initial hiccups. We're just trying to get a sense as to how companies are also looking at, I guess, the period of time where one is going to sort of need a few more adjustments when it comes to the GST regime. How long do you think that's actually going to last, and the real benefits are really going to start pouring in after?
No, as far as logistic benefits are concerned, it has already started pouring in. Because number of checkpoints in terms of simplification of the compliance by understanding the taxation laws state to state and clubbing various tax laws, almost 17 tax laws under one regime. So in that respect, it has already started. As far as shift from unorganized to organized, obviously it's a gradual process and it should happen over a period of time. And thirdly, in terms of reduction in taxation rate for air cooling, it has also started immediately.
So now when we look ahead, Mr. Shah, what kind of revenues and profit growth are you seeing for FY18 going ahead?
So again, in line with our past guidance, we don't give quarterly or annual guidance, but having said that, we are very confident to register 20-25% CAGR growth, and that too at a profitability margin what we had a year before or in September 16 quarter.
Just before we let you go, Just before we let you go, just wanted to also ask you in terms of any particular initiatives you're taking as a company to really ensure that you can make more out of growth and innovation. Anything you'd like to share with us going forward?
Sure. Number one, last year we launched mainly touch series and iPure in all about 10 models, and that will be a continuous process. Secondly, we have already done the test marketing of wall-mounted air cooler, that is the cloud model, and in the current year, nationally, internationally, there is going to be a full-fledged launch of it, which has already received initial overwhelming response. And this is going to be a continuous process. Thirdly, the introductory price which we had for touch series, we already raised the price, and despite revision of the healthy price revision upward side, still it's receiving the equally good and robust response.
Mr. Shah, we wish you great luck for the future, and of course we'll be looking at the quarters to follow and how much of the GST impact actually plays out, though you're saying that the good things that GST brings to the table are actually beginning to trickle in already. So that is the space that we'll be watching. Meanwhile, we are looking at Rural Electrification Corporation and Power Finance Corporation. Now, these are stocks that have been sliding in trade. Perhaps we should pull them up and see what they're doing.